Over the world.
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 I warmly welcome you to my new channel, and I hope with all my heart that you will have a good time here. And if you feel fun while watching my channel, please click on the like button and subscribe to the channel. This new channel was opened for 2 reasons. The first, to make you feel entertained, learn, have fun and discover new things. Second, to help my parents pay for my university studies. Thanks for your time.
Tens of millions of people watch movies on a daily basis, and perhaps it has become a way to transmit the culture and thought of other people to us. American Hollywood is the second largest film producer in the world after Indian Bollywood. But these films do not provide us with real information. There are several wrong ideas that the films have portrayed in people's minds as real. I am not here to discuss laws or history, but rather to discuss general ideas. So, in this video, let's learn about 20 misconceptions that movies made real and true. 1. The grenade nail can be removed with the teeth. You may have watched many films and saw the soldiers pulling out the nail of the bomb with their teeth. In fact, this thing is completely wrong, because the safety bolt in the grenade is very heavy and difficult to remove, and if a person tries to remove the grenade bolt with his teeth will break and the nail will not be removed. 2. If you do not take your foot off the mine, it will not explode. In war movies, mines do not explode unless a person takes his foot off them, and this is completely wrong. The way the mine works lies in an electric detonator that ignites the mine, and the mine explodes directly as soon as it is pressed. Whether the soldier removes his foot or not, the mine will explode in less than a second. 3. The mines are designed to kill a person. Always in the movies, a person does not survive a mine when it explodes. In fact, the mine is designed to injure the soldier only, as most soldiers cut their feet or hands or lose their sight after the mine explodes, but it does not kill them often. Of course, these are most types of mines used in wars, and there are types designed to kill the soldier and those with him, but they are very expensive and no country can bear the cost of placing these mines everywhere. So light mines are used that seriously injure the soldier without killing him. For example, in the Vietnam War more than 3 million mines were planted, and all of them were light mines, and if the United States had used heavy mines, it would not have been able to bear the cost of this number. 4. The silencer silences the sound of the weapon. The sound of bullets comes from 2 parts, the explosion of the bullet and its exit from an arrow opening into the void, which leads to an acoustic shock. Thus, silencers give the bullet more space than the bullet exits from the narrow hole into the void. It reduces the sound, but does not suppress it, and it weakens the strength of the bullet. Note, the best silencers were made by German weapons designers, and some types are able to reduce sound up to 85%. 5. DNA analyzers arrive quickly. If you are a fan of mystery and crime movies and series, you must have seen in the films that DNA analyzers come quickly and within hours. In fact, this is not entirely true. The duration of the analyzers is up to 6 days at the very least, and the samples are not always successful. Some hair samples may be damaged and dirty, so the laboratory may need other samples. 6. Weapons can be used inside the tunnels normally. If you watch the movies where criminals are chased inside the tunnels, you will see that the police are able to shoot normally inside the tunnel. In fact, this is not true, as when the shooting is done inside a confined space, the weapon produces a light that is able to obscure view of the person using the weapon. 7. Swords were the weapons of the ancient world. Historical films show swords as the weapon of the ancient world, and they were. But it was not used much in wars. Given the cost of making the sword and the difficulty of training soldiers with it, the archers were the majority of the army. In fact, the archers were the second most important element in the army after the armored divisions. The swordsmen were a few elite soldiers. 8. The explosions are safe if they are far away. You might see the dramatic scene where the hero walks in and behind him gets an explosion and he's not affected by it. This is completely wrong, as with each explosion, 20% of the victims die as a result of the explosion, and 80% die as a result of the shrapnel that comes out of the explosion. Some grenades have an effect of up to 30 meters, only 1 meter is the impact of the explosion and the rest is the impact of shrapnel from the bomb. Of course, the only bombs that kill by explosion and not by shrapnel are nuclear bombs, since there are no shrapnel at all. Note, some types of heavy artillery shells contain up to 2,000 shell fragments. 9. Guns always work great. If you watch war movies, you may see that soldiers use the same rifle, firing thousands of bullets into it. This is not true, as every weapon has a shelf life, and perhaps the Russian Kalashnikov rifles are the best, as their lifespan reaches 7,300 rounds. Of course, even before the lifespan, firing more than 500 rounds, the weapon begins to get tired and must be cleaned, otherwise it will get stuck. 10. During battles, you attack your opponent and storm his positions. This is true and incorrect, as the sites are stormed, of course, but this does not happen directly. In most battles, the soldiers locate the enemy and then hit them with all their might until they make sure that a huge number of dead and wounded have occurred and the enemy's ammunition has run out, so they storm then. So much so that most soldiers do not know the forms of those who killed them. 11. Elephants are a deadly war machine. This is true and false at the same time. Since elephants were used as tanks in the ancient world, but they were not relied on much. Believe it or not, elephants are sensitive, peaceful and cowardly creatures despite their huge size. In Rome, they set pigs on fire and then let them run towards the elephants so that they would get frightened and run away, and this technique was so effective that they stopped using elephants. Perhaps the only breed to which the name of the war machine applied was the Syrian elephant breed. This breed was hybridized before the year 800 BC. Carvings were found in Syria from the ivory of those elephants. The Arameans and Canaanites crossed those elephants to become a deadly bloody war machine, and were used in several ways. Wars in history until its extinction. So much so, that this breed was given a special scientific name in it, which is the Syrian elephant, and its breed almost became extinct in the year 100 BC, that is, about 2,122 years ago. 12. Cars increase fuel at the same rate, no matter how fast they are. If you watch the Fast and Furious series, you will see that the actors run long races at crazy speeds without the need for fuel. Of course, the faster the car, the higher the fuel consumption, but when the speed exceeds 180 km per hour, the engine consumes twice the amount of fuel to raise the speed due to hitting the air, so the fuel will run out quickly, and if the movie was realistic, the actors would have to stop at the stations at least 10 times. 13. A bullet to the head is confirmed murder. If you watch any movie where they kill a person with a bullet to the head and his killing is certain, then what you have seen is half the truth. Although the bullet in the head has a high success rate, it sometimes does not hit the marrow and settles in the brain, and the person lives, especially if it hits a far part of the head, as the marrow is in the middle. Of course, a person will not live normally, as the bullet will destroy a part of the brain. A person may lose the ability to see, taste, or think, or suffer from weakness in vision or memory. 14. Snipers fight their battles alone. In war movies, you will always find snipers fighting their battles alone. In fact, only suicide snipers do that. The sniper can cover a specific area and hide in a place without being detected, and he must not lose sight of his opponent for one moment, and therefore his back is exposed. In real battles, the sniper does not fight unless there is someone covering his back or if there are less than 4 soldiers. A sniper who fights alone is a suicide fighter. 15. Weapons work no matter how bad the conditions. If you watch the movie, Full Metal Jacket, you will notice that the machine guns function normally even after they are covered with dirt and mud. The only weapon capable of working in the worst conditions is the Russian AK-47 rifle. As for the rest of the weapons, it cannot work efficiently if dirt and mud enter it, and it will not fire in the same way. 16. Revolver pistols can be used quickly. If you watch the cowboy movies and the old Wild West movies, you will see that they use their pistols quickly and some of them hit the hammer manually, in some movies such as The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and other movies. Reloader pistols operate automatically and there is a nail to hold the wheel so that it does not slip. If the pistol is used in this way, the nail may break and the weapon will fire ammunition in a frantic manner, leading to a loss of control of the weapon. In some cases, the so-called chine fire occurs, where we shoot some shots inside the pistol at one time, which leads to a serious injury to the person's hand, and some cowboys have even lost their hands as a result of using the pistol in this way. 17. The life of a pirate is fun. If you have seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, you might think that the life of a pirate is fun and beautiful, so you spend your life in the seas, see the wonders of the world, descend on the most beautiful islands, do crazy adventures, steal and rob enemy ships. In fact, the life of a pirate was far from it. For starters, the food of the pirates was hardtack bread, and since the pirates lived on the ship for many months, the meat was horribly salted to keep it from rotting, and the Sweeneys made the bread a home for them, so they don't see insects. Pirates were suffering from dozens of diseases, and perhaps the most common is vitamin C deficiency, where they would develop a fever, fall out and open their wounds. Also, sleep was a problem. The pirate ships were overcrowded, and they slept in rooms so narrow that they were breathing through their mouths so as not to smell bad odors. As for the adventures, 90% of the ships hijacked by pirates surrendered directly and did not fight them. Therefore, there are no adventures and all pirates' lives are suffering. The life of a pirate was their only option. At that time most of Europe was very poor, and piracy was the only thing that brought you food on the table. 18. The Middle Ages was an enchanting period. If you watch films about the Middle Ages, such as Game of Thrones, Shrek, Disenchantment, or others, you will imagine that the Middle Ages is a beautiful world in which people live a quiet, simple and beautiful life in their small, safe villages. In fact, things were quite the opposite. Here's what the Middle Ages looked like. Dirty streets and people covered in them with pigs that come to clean the streets and eat human waste and then leave a little of their waste. Some children are executed daily for being the sons of demons. Some women are executed for witchcraft and adultery, and some men are executed for heresy. Plague victims are everywhere and daily wagons come to transport and burn the bodies of plague patients to ease the spread of the epidemic. You have to work up to 16 hours a day for your housing and one loaf of bread, and of course you live with your employer as it is not easy to move from place to place. You do not have any days off, but you are allowed to spend half of the Saturday on vacation, but you cannot spend it at home, but you have to go and pray in church so as not to anger God. You will not be able to give your son a better life than you. You may think that you can educate your son in order for him to get a better job than yours, but you will not, as schools are only for nobles and sons of nobles, and to honor you the employer may teach your son at his expense. And if your luck is bad enough, your village may be invaded daily by Vikings or savages. 19. The pirates lived in complete freedom and without laws. Laws are made to protect people and their interests from people. There is no absolute freedom in any place or profession at all, even in the profession of pirates, that profession that was devoid of rules and laws. Pirates had laws, and whoever broke them was punished severely. The blood law forbade any pirate to kill his companion, for whatever reason. The captain of the ship had no right to kill a crew member for no apparent reason. Of course, rebellion was a common thing among pirates to the extent that some pirates were toppling and appointing more than 10 leaders within 1 week. But in the event of any war, any battle, or any danger, the pirates had to follow their leader no matter how much they hated him, and in the meantime, if anyone uttered the word rebellion, the pirates would kill him directly. 20. Not all drugs are addictive. In American films, especially those produced by Seth Rogen, drugs that come out of the ground like marijuana are not addictive. In fact, addiction to plant-based drugs such as hashish, opium and others is more psychological than physical, as a person enters a fantasy world and does not want to leave this world, so it is addictive in the end. There are a lot of stereotypes and misconceptions that Hollywood put in its films, but I mentioned the most important, and of course I chose Hollywood because it produces the most popular films and because it contains some misconceptions. If I choose Bollywood, the producer of Indian films, this video will not end.